So the next round is just what was your quick takeaway from sort of the information that you heard here? And for me, what came up was sort of the important or the possibility of having a core principle be empathy, like as a shared value, like up front with the group, and then to practice this, and then if there is conflict, to use like empathic listening or different practices for conflict resolution.
So basically, the things that I really got stuck with is that we should probably think about having a consensus that we can make inside of XR safe spaces where we can, in a non-judgmental way, hear each other and try to not properly resolve, but keep on resolving conflicts through this method of actually listening and rephrasing what people are saying. And that is very difficult to make sometimes, because as Marta said, you can't force someone to be available to life itself, to the conflicts that will come, and that you can't evitate, or something that they're unavoidable. And that there is this internal management that we have to have between taking things personally and all, and the group. So this balance also between personal needs and the group.
Well, the thing that's most alive for me right now is actually wanting to answer the question that Edwin's raised multiple times, or at least give my answer on that. And for me, the principles and values, the real beauty of them is when you play them like chords. A lot of the magic is what happens between the XR principles, how they relate to each other. And I believe, Edwin, you have what you want, specifically in the first principle of we have a shared vision for change, because empathy is a necessary critical condition for a shared vision of change. Without empathy, the vision is not real and it is not shared. That added to, I think it's principle 7, please someone correct me if I'm wrong, about we accept everyone and every part of everyone. Quite apart from all the usual stuff about accepting or welcome, doesn't necessarily mean you accept everything. But again, it supports the idea that a shared vision needs to be something that is authentic, and you can't get to that authenticity of understanding without having felt from the other perspective, from the other side. And we need to communicate that. But again, we can't have everything we want on a tray, so we have to play the chords with the principles.
My takeaway from this is that the XR movement, people here believe that the XR movement could benefit from greater understanding and practice with empathy circles and paraphrasing, and also that people here want more engagement, learning around how to do it themselves in their own conflicts, practice with more live conflict where the structures that we have are broken or under attack, and how to manage that in live conflict in here. And just that people here feel good about what we're doing, and I feel good about it too. So that's it.
Yeah, so I guess my takeaways are a little bit what I said before, which is just hearing about the frequency and the size of conflicts that people in XR are experiencing and wanting to know how to deal with them. And so reflective listening, the empathy circle practice and reflective listening itself as a tool is very powerful. And also informations or strategies to use, training around what to do when circles get hot. So most of the circles I participated in within XR, like today, people are connecting, people are trying hard. They're not really in conflict with each other. They're getting to know each other, but they're not in conflict. What happens when you get in a situation that's hot? You know, what do you do then? So I think that's, you know, there's a need to demonstrate some of that. And then, because that does happen in circles. I've been in circles that got really hot. And then an insight that I had, which is someone said, what do you do when you're at like a citizens assembly and there are 30, 40 people there and people are really agitated, you know, they have a lot of energy. And so there's a lot of conflict that happens. And so I got this insight that, so you might take a big group like that and break them into small groups and have them do empathy circles for a half an hour, or some other kind of process. It might be pairs or threes where people have a opportunity to process their energy before trying to do something as a larger group. Because there isn't any getting around the fact that people are agitated, people have a lot of feelings, and they need to do something with that feeling. And that's part of what gets in the way of people participating in group processes, is when they're holding a lot of feelings. And so having some pre-process that lets people get heard and understood and just vent, get some of that out, I think would be a good strategy.
My takeaway today is that the empathy circle can be used as a tool in transforming conflicts, and is because previously I had them just like a tool to know better one with the others. So we used that to calm down, but with conflicts that were not among ourselves. So this can be used also in conflicts between people taking part on the same empathy circle.
I love that insight. I feel it's all the time changing. I mean, you know, I'm very, very active. My mind is very active. And there's one thing about the structure. I actually take away that it's a very good thing to have that kind of structure, even if it's not my preferred way of going, especially if I want to invite people in. And then another thing that I'm thinking about is this Dominic Barter quote that it's all about getting the support we need. And I feel as facilitators to step up to that role of like really standing in that place, no matter what happens in the group. I feel that we need deeper containers. Like the people who are drawn to this need deeper containers to deepen their own capacity for this. So it's like something happening on the surface and something really, really excavating deep places where a lot of complexity and a lot of intimacy nearly can be held. So that is what I've been thinking about, and I would just love circles like this to become islands of sanity to do that excavation work also and get the support we need. Yeah, thank you.
So yes, we came to that conflict is the growing edge of XR, and either we get this right or there's no chance. So like this is where the jewel is. That's what I feel about it at the moment. And so what came up for me, there's something that I'd like to brainstorm about the male, female, left, right brain, the whole thing. There's something there that needs excavating. And it also binds with, one of Sarah Payton's work. Ultimately, we are all traumatized in ways from our background and our experiences, and we're like a bunch of chemistry in here. And so unless we go to that soft thing, then we can't really support and hold ourselves. And how do we not tell this to people, but help it happen in the space? So I don't know. And also that in societies today, we're used to pathologizing emotion. And I realized this week that actually that's a form of oppression. And that you know, the system that we're trying to let emerge requires that we work with that, because that's where the change in paradigm is as well, of letting go of that kind of oppression.
I want to share something not which is important to me, not related directly to what I've heard today. Something I didn't say yet, and I feel that many people feel helpless when they face conflict or all the situation, and they say, well, maybe empathy circles would help to bring people together to improve things, but we can't force people to do this. So those people, I want to tell, you don't have to do this to people, to force people. Just try to get support for yourself. Try to find people who reflect what you think, so you will get to a relaxed, to a good level. And then on this good level, feel it where you're very sensitive to what's going on in other people, because your own problems are a bit diminished. Then from this state, you can really help the other people just by applying, reflecting their thoughts, because then you are able to do this. So first get support, then, and this is work, so you can start right away. You don't need to wait till somebody agrees to help, to team up with you. You just start, and then yeah, and then once you have this support for yourself, then you can start not even talking about empathy circle or anything, just reflecting during a normal talk with someone on the street or in your family, and you reflect what you hear from them in a very very subtle way, so they won't be annoyed by it, and it heals. It brings it changes, and so that's what I've been experiencing.
Yeah, something that Andrea said about the deeper containers. I'm not really sure. I haven't processed what that means to me, but I know I'm connecting to something you said there. That you know, in other words, if I could develop myself in the direction of being able to hold the space to do this effectively, that's of interest to me, and I see the potential there. And you know, I'm impressed. Like, again, I'm saying the same thing again. You've encouraged me that it's possible. People can. It is a container as it is. It's a space that it just holds huge potential. So yeah, I'm just going to say again, what I'm taking away is I'm encouraged. And there's another word, there's a better word. It's kind of like I'm inspired. It's inspiring. Something so simple and so effective. So yeah, that's probably enough for now. Thank you.
Sure, John. Thank you. Sinead?
Was that we were sharing a lot, but not actually solving at this point. We talked about internal conflicts that affected our view of external conflicts. And so there was a lot of listening back and forth. And I think that's a real natural way to get to authenticity and intimacy, where we don't have to jump in and say, well, here, I know how to fix that problem that you're talking about. It's rather like just listen to each other. Without this empathy, somebody else said this, we won't find solutions. So I think we need to do this first, just listening. Personally, I've been practicing this in conversations, and I've been finding it to be just amazing that when I stop myself and I don't interrupt and I don't try to tell my story or respond, where I just keep saying back to people what they're saying, it's been building a much stronger connection. So thank you all for helping me practice and for being here. I love you all. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Liz.
Hi. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and reflect on what oh, forgive me, I'm forgetting her name. The person who before me just said.
Liz.
But thank you. Yes, Liz. That we did focus a lot on sharing and not as much on problem solving. But I think it's good to really just to learn the basic skill set and feel the rhythm of how it can go. I hope maybe that we might have some sort of thing where we can maybe talk about more specific conflicts or types of conflicts, and maybe various strategies that have had success in solving those. But this was otherwise, again, like I said before, fabulous, and I really appreciated practicing the skill set in a very supportive area and group.
So I'm just with IL. I think I really would like to know more about strategies that we can apply in the future, and I'm really enthusiastic to try to apply these skills in our new structure. And also we would like, I think, to give some feedback, what went okay and what did not went so fine. And I think we would like to keep this contact in the future, because I think and it's good to learn with all of you. And probably we could apply the strategy that Lou just said some minutes before, that we could split the big group in little ones, and probably that way some anger and some bad emotions could be more easily than when we have to solve the big problems in the group. Okay, thank you so much for this experience.
What kind of remarks is how simple this is. And the magic, I think it's an excellent tool. I wouldn't be doing this. But on the other hand, there's something even greater, and that's the magic of the sort of the empathic kingdom that we all live in. And that what I see is not the same thing. They're different people, but they all react to this. I always feel, enhanced by it. And I think that is the sort of the society that we're kind of looking at now, right now, through narrow, flashlight beams of the empathy circle. But I hope that everybody brings their own little candle and light, and so that we can really illuminate it and see what a beautiful thing we can make together. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, facilitating